So if you go to this screen, now you have access to the software, and you're looking at the plan layout of a project that we're going to use for test purposes. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that if you look at the lower right of the screen, it says no license, right? It means the software has not been authorized for you to use. So we need to authorize the software. We're going to do that by going File, Check Authorization, okay? And then you should get this screen, License Server, type in License 6, L-I-C-E-N-S-E, no space, number 6. Okay? And then click Activate. If everything works, it should say Activation Successful. Okay? And when you click OK, it should say over here TKO, and then August 31st, 2014. When you click Close, now your right bottom of the screen should say TKO instead of no license. Yes?
Yes.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, so now you have an authorized software, and you have your drawing right on the screen. Okay? So the first thing that we notice is that this is sideways, right? We want to have it straight. We want to have that horizontal. So we're going to do the first command on this software. We're going to go Image, okay? Rotate Flip, and then we're going to rotate the image left. So now we have it in the right orientation. Yes? Okay, very good. So now we have it in the right orientation. The next thing that we want to do is to get familiar in how to move around the screen. So there are different tools for that. The first one is this little hand. It's called Pan. So if you click on it, you can move the drawing up and down, right and left, right? Without changing the zoom. You can also do the pan on this. You should see this screen over here that shows you the full-size drawing, okay? And then a black rectangle that represents what you are seeing from the big picture. It's possible that you cannot do the pan, and that only happens when you have a zoom to the full screen. So the full page is completely occupying your screen, and that's because of that, you can't just move the drawing anymore because it's using all your screen. So the second command that we're going to learn is the zoom command. Okay, there is a magnifier glass with 2 circles inside. It's called zoom. So if you click on it, you activate the zoom, and then you can just zoom in a region of the screen, and then you will zoom in that section that you were looking at. And now you see the black window on top of the overall picture, right? And now the pan function should work. So you should be able to drag and move these around, right? You can zoom out to the full screen with the zoom full page button, okay? And basically what I want you to do now is, zoom in, zoom out, move around, look at the drawing, get familiar with the drawing a little bit, okay? And then we'll do an exercise. I see. Okay, so you're getting familiar with the drawing. Try to see, what this drawing is about, what areas do we have, and maybe you see something familiar from the previous lab work, right? You see the women's locker room here? Mm-hmm. You see the men's locker room that we were dealing with before? And the corridor that we estimated, right?
Yes.
Good. So now I am going to teach you how to use this thing to get some dimensions out of it, okay? So the first thing that we need to do, the most important part, is to make sure that the scale on the drawing is the same scale that you have on your software, okay? So we're going to zoom out, see the whole picture, and then we're going to zoom in where the scale is, okay? So the scale says 1/8 to a foot, okay? So we're going to go in the software, up here, it says scale, right? And it's right now 1/8 to a foot. So far so good. On the top left corner here, just 1/8 to a foot.
Look further along.
It may be in a different. It may be in a different location depending on the resolution. It could be located somewhere else, but somewhere in that menu should be your scale. So far we have the same scale. So that's good. The next thing that we want to do is we want to verify a vertical dimension and we want to verify our horizontal dimension to make sure that even though the scale number is the same, it's possible that this sheet was shrunk or expanded and then it won't really match. So we want to check and make sure that it does work. We will go to a horizontal dimensions here. We will just zoom in an area where we can see a dimension by the architect. And we're going to use this dimension tool. Okay, so we'll look in the menu for the dimension tool. Okay, click on the dimension tool. And then just measure one of these distances. So I've got 14 feet 8 inches, and the architect says 14 feet 8 inches.
And you cannot edit what you did. You have to do it again, erase it and do it again.
Well,
you cannot stretch on.
Yes, you can, but let's. What you can do is just take another dimension and do it again. Okay. Just take another one and measure. You know, if the first one you didn't like it.
Yeah. Well,
just take another one and measure again. Okay.
Okay.
So everybody okay with this? Except, of course, the two of you who are having troubles with the stuff. Okay, so now you're set. Okay, very good. Okay, so after you create your dimension and you're happy with it, the next step will be to, of course, check a vertical dimension. So the process is the same. You just look for a vertical dimension, choose your dimension tool, and just go up and scale that, right? So hopefully you get the same dimensions, both horizontal and vertical. Now she had a good question. What happens if I do a dimension here that I wasn't intended to do? You're going to use the select tool, which is the black arrow. Okay, you're going to use the select tool to modify items that you have put on the software. So I will use this select tool, and then I'm going to select the dimension that I want to change. You can grab one of these corners, okay, and move it along to adjust the length, or you can just delete that dimension and repeat the measurement again. So you took your dimension, that's not what I wanted. You go to the select tool, select the dimension, and then you can move the endpoints. Now, as you can see, you can only move the endpoints in the same direction that you had your dimensions. So if by any chance, you used an angle and that's not what you intended to do, you are locked into that angle, okay? So if that's not what you wanted to do, just select the dimension, click the delete button, and it goes away. So then you can repeat your measurement properly, okay? The other thing that you may want to know is that you can select more than one dimension at the same time, okay? Just open a window, okay? Use the select tool, open the window, and then you're selecting multiple objects at the same time, so you can delete all of them at the same time, okay? Are we good with that? Yes? Now, I'm going to ask you to do the lab work that we did before, but with the software, right? we are going, remember what we did before, that we estimated the size of the men's and women's locker room? But now, instead of guessing what dimensions you have, you can go in, use your dimension tool, and measure the width, measure the height, and compare that with the area that you calculated before. Okay?